Hello everyone. We are doing the new chapter Morphology of Flowering Plants. In that we covered root, the structures, functions, types of the root and the regions of the root. Now let's go on to a new topic, that's root modifications in today's session. Hope you are enjoying the lectures, which will help you to score good marks in the NEET examinations. And any doubt or any clarity or anything you can comment in the comment box. Okay, let's go with the today's topic of root modifications. Now root is a part which is underground, which helps in absorption of water and minerals and gives mechanical strength. Anchorage. Apart from that, there are so many variations in the root, so which will do many functions. All that we will discuss one by one. The first type of root is storage root modification. We will start with the first one, which is called storage root. Means actually the root should give anchorage and the root should help in absorption of water and minerals. But root can store food materials also. If it stores food material, then that is a modified root and we call it as a storage root. Taproot also can store the food. Fibrous root also can store the food. And next one, tuberous root also can store the food. We will see adventitious root also can store the food. We will see the examples one by one. So taproot, which is storage, if we have to see, taproot with storage function. Now under this we can take the examples of the taproot is storing the food, is storing sugars, is storing starch. Under this we can take the example of carrot. Now carrot, right, is, what is this? This is carrot. Carrot is a taproot. The primary root itself will swell and store the food. So then what is the shape of the carrot? It is conical. So it is conical storage root. What do you mean by conical storage root? In conical storage root, at the base it is broad. As it comes down, it gets tapered. Then that is called conical root. Then next one is fusiform. So fusiform means spindle shaped. So we can take the example of radish, Raphanus sativus. Now this is radish. Now in radish, the tip is also narrow. The base is also narrow. At the middle, it is swollen. It is swollen at the middle. The tip is also narrow, the base is also narrow. Such a shape is called as fusiform. Okay, so this is called fusiform storage root. Example, radish you can take. Okay, then next one is called napiform storage root. Napiform storage root, we can find it in turnip and beetroot. In turnip and beetroot, so it will be like this. Immediately it gets tapered. Suddenly, right, it gets tapered and it is broad at the base. Now such a type of root, it terminates at the tip and it is broad at the base. Such a type of storage root is called napiform. Napiform storage roots, where are they found? Napiform storage taproots are found in turnip. They are found in beetroot also. Whereas fusiform taproots are found in radish. Conical taproots are found in carrot. All these are taproots which are storing the food in the form of sugar and starch. Now if we have to see fibrous roots which can store the food. If we have to see fibrous roots of storage function, right, then we have to take the example of asparagus. In asparagus, fibrous roots will be there. Fibrous roots means tuft of roots, bunch of roots. All the bunch of roots will store the food materials, right? So then how does it appear? In NCERT they have given the picture of asparagus. Now this fasciculated root, this fibrous root also has stored the food. This also has stored the food. This also has stored the food. This also, all the tuft are storing the food. And this, such an appearance is called fasciculated. They are irregular. So fasciculated tuberous fibrous storage roots are found in asparagus. If the fibrous roots are storing the food, then that is called asparagus. Which type of roots are they? They are called fasciculated. And they are tuberous. They are irregular in shape. So fasciculated, tuberous, and they are fibrous roots. Where do we find them? We find them in a plant called asparagus. So taproot with storage function, carrot is example, conical shape. Radish is an example, fusiform shape, okay, or spindle shape. Napiform shape, beetroot and turnip are the examples. Fibrous root is example is asparagus. Now if we have to take an example of adventitious also. Adventitious storage root. Adventitious root means the root which comes from any other part other than the radicle. Example is Ipomia batatas. Ipomia batatas means it is sweet potato. It is sweet potato. In sweet potato, here is the stem. Okay, and these are the nodes. At every node, aerially, leaf will come. And from the node bottom, so here is the leaf of sweet potato. This is the leaf of sweet potato. And underground, if you see, from the node, a root will come, a storage root. Since it is coming from the node, and it is irregular, so we call it as tuberous. Adventitious tuberous roots are found in sweet potato. So since they are coming from the node, they are adventitious. They don't have any shape, tuberous. Adventitious storage roots, they are tuberous roots. Where do we find it? In sweet potato. So our first root modification is storage root. Now let's go with the second modification. Under storage root, I showed you taproot storage root. I showed you fasciculated storage root. I showed you adventitious storage root also with examples we have seen. Now second type of root modification is nodular roots. In leguminaceous plants, we find the nodules will be there on the roots which help in nitrogen fixation. So let's list down here what and all modifications we are seeing. The first one we discussed is storage root, and now we switched on to the second one, which is called nodular roots. Right, let's write down here. The second one is the nodular roots. Nodular roots, where do we find? Nodular roots are found in leguminaceous plants. In leguminaceae, in fabaceae, the roots host for a bacteria. What is the name of the bacteria? Rhizobium. And this rhizobium helps in nitrogen fixation. The rhizobium helps in nitrogen fixation. So the roots which are having nodules on them are called nodular roots. If you have to see the picture of nodular roots, here is the root, lateral roots. On the lateral roots, so they are nodules. These nodules will help in nitrogen fixation. This is our second type of root modification. Coming to the third type of root modification, we can talk about stilt roots. which are also called brace roots, found in sugarcane and maize plants. Stilt roots and brace roots are found in sugarcane and maize plants. In sugarcane and maize, the sugarcane plant grows very tall. It's a monocot. Now the roots which are present inside the soil might not be sufficient to give support to that tall plant. So from the nodes which are near to the soil, 1, 2, 3 nodes. The upper node is very above from the soil. From the nodes which are near to the soil, so dead roots will arise. They grow obliquely into the soil to give additional support. Now this root which is coming from the node means it is adventitious root. The root which is coming from the node which is growing obliquely into the soil, which is a dead root giving mechanical support, is called as stilt root or brace root. Okay, so stilt roots or brace roots, they are adventitious roots. What are they? So they are adventitious roots arising from nodes, grow obliquely into soil to give support. So this is one which we are talking as stilt root. Now the next modification we can see is prop roots. Prop root is also called pillar root. We find it in huge trees like banyan tree. Now in banyan tree, so the plant grows very massive. Then the main tap root might not be sufficient. Then from the lateral branches, so if we have to see the tree, this is the tree, this is a main trunk, and this is the structure, right? And these are the branches. These are the branches of the plant. Now, since the taproot might not be sufficient to give additional support, from the branches, so roots will grow and they grow deep into the soil. They appear like pillars to give additional support. Now these roots which are coming from the branches appearing like woody trunk-like structures, you can't make out which is trunk and which is a pillar root, are called as prop roots or pillar roots found in banyan trees. So this is a fourth modification. Next, if we have to talk about respiratory roots. Respiratory roots are also called pneumatophores. Where do we find respiratory roots or pneumatophores? In mangrove plants. Examples of mangrove plants are Avicennia and Rhizophora are the examples. In Avicennia and Rhizophora, these plants are Avicennia and Rhizophora, they are growing in marshy, swampy soils. They are growing in marshy, swampy soils. So, where there is no oxygen in the soil, where there is no oxygen in the soil. Since the oxygen is not there in the soil, actually root is negatively phototrophic, but the root comes up and it bears holes, nostril-like structures to take the oxygen from the atmosphere. Those roots are called respiratory roots. Let's draw a plant. This is the plant and these are the tap roots what it is having. And the plant, since it is growing in waterlogging soil, some roots will come up. And they have holes also on them. The holes are called pneumatophores. Okay, they are called pneumatophores. These through this they will take the oxygen inside. Through this, they'll take the oxygen inside. So they are called respiratory roots or pneumatophores, which are seen in mangrove plants, which are seen in waterlogged soils. Avicennia and Rhizophora are the examples. Now, next root, if we have to see, we can take climbing roots as example. Climbing roots for additional support, we can see it in money plant. Money plant is called pothos. In money plant, from the node, adventitious roots will come and they will give additional support. So they are called climbing roots. And if we have to see the next example, so the next example we can go with assimilatory roots. Assimilatory roots are also called photosynthetic roots. They are also called photosynthetic roots. Now, in some plants like Ctenospora, Ctenophyllum, like that, the plant is not there, the stem roots are not, the stem is not there, the leaves are not there, then root is non-green. But in photosynthetic root, the root becomes green because stem and leaves are not there, it has to take up the photosynthetic function. So, assimilatory roots or photosynthetic roots are found in plants like Ctenospora and Ctenophyllum. So, where the roots become green, and will do photosynthesis, okay. So, we discussed storage roots, we discussed nodular roots, we discussed stilt roots or brace roots seen in sugarcane and maize. We discussed about prop roots or pillar roots seen in banyan trees. We discussed about respiratory roots, which are called pneumatophores, seen in waterlogged soil plants called Rhizophora and Avicennia. Climbing roots seen in money plant. Assimilatory roots seen in Ctenophyllum and Ctenospora. And if we have to see some more examples, we can talk about parasitic roots. So, what are the examples we have seen so far? Storage roots, nodular roots, then next one, stilt roots or brace roots. And next one we have seen respiratory roots. And next one we have seen pillar roots or prop roots. And then I told climbing roots. After climbing roots, we discussed about photosynthetic roots. We discussed about photosynthetic roots. Then we can discuss about the next one, parasitic roots. Right? So, we can discuss about parasitic roots also. Now, let's go with parasitic roots. Now, in some plants, parasitic plants like cuscuta, so it grows on the host plant. Now, the cuscuta, since it cannot prepare its food, it's a parasite on the host plant, it develops certain root-like structures which are called haustoria. Those haustoria penetrate into the host plant to absorb water, minerals and food. So, parasitic plants will have parasitic roots which are called haustoria. Parasitic roots are found in cuscuta. So, parasitic plants develop haustoria which penetrate into host plant to absorb food, water and minerals. Okay. So, what we can see is epiphytic root. Epiphytic roots are found with epiphytic plants. Epiphytic plant example is vanda. Now, we have discussed that vanda grows on the trunk of the mango tree, right? So, this is a vanda plant. Now, the vanda plant needs sunlight. For that reason, it goes and sits on top of the mango tree and then its roots, when it is sitting on that top, the roots cannot go deep into the soil. It has vlamin roots. These vlamin roots absorb atmospheric moisture. They absorb atmospheric moisture. So they are called epiphytic roots found in Vanda. They are called vlamin roots. They are called vlamin roots. Okay. So these vlamin roots absorb atmospheric moisture. They absorb atmospheric moisture. So this is another type. And the last type of root modifications is, we can talk about, the last type of root modification is, we can talk about mycorrhizal roots. The last one is mycorrhizal roots. Now you know that a gymnosperm is there called pinus. There's a gymnosperm called pinus. In pinus, roots, fungi will grow. Pinus has roots. In the roots of the pinus, mycorrhizae will grow. Fungi will grow, and they help the plant to absorb more water and more minerals, because fungi are myceliae, they are hyphae. The hyphae are root-like structures. They go deep into the soil and they absorb more water and more minerals. Such type of roots which are present in the pinus are called as mycorrhizal roots. Pinus, which is a gymnosperm, in the roots of the gymnosperm of pinus, fungi will grow and help the plant to absorb water and minerals. So all these are root modifications. We discussed 10 types of root modifications. The 9th one we wrote epiphytic roots found in Vanda, and the 10th one we wrote, what is that? Mycorrhizal roots. These are mycorrhizal roots. If we can list down, we can list down contractile roots or pull roots also. Contractile roots we can write, or pull roots we can write. Where do we find it? In corms, in colocasia. We see it under stem modification. Now we can list down the last one, which is called as pull root. Now if you see colocasia plant, in colocasia the stem will store the food, and this is the tuber. These are the nodes. Now it is a vertical stem. The vertical stem is storing the food. It should not come above the soil. So the underground stem should be kept underground. So from the nodes, pull roots, contractile roots will be there. It will pull the plant to be into the soil only, so that the leaves will be above. So these are called contractile roots or pull roots, which are found in colocasia. So in today's class we discussed all types of root modifications like storage roots, nodular roots, stilt roots, respiratory roots, prop roots, climbing roots, photosynthetic roots, parasitic roots, epiphytic roots, mycorrhizal roots, contractile roots or pull roots. So hope you enjoyed the lecture. In the next lecture we'll talk about stem structure, functions of the stem and stem modifications. If you like the lecture, like, share and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.